YouTube, Awesome Writer here with another Power Rangers reboot movie rumor news video. Man, that's a lot of titles. So there has been more rumors that have been coming out thanks to Jinsaku on Twitter, and I want to give a shout out to Morphin Mike on Twitter. Drew my attention to the fact that Jinsaku recently did like a little live stream where he gave some details, and he also compiled the key bullet points to talk about. I will link to one of his posts in the description, so if you want to read the more full details, I'm going to sort of talk about the new bullet points. Also here at the beginning, as always, which makes little difference, I want to stress that as of this moment, these are just rumors. Nothing has been confirmed. We're just discussing it for the sake of fun, and also typing, again, this will not happen, is not going to stop the reboot. That's not how the Force works. So a lot of this is just kind of reconfirmation of stuff we knew, that the Netflix show is going to be a reboot, like a full reboot, like it's going to be a new continuity. It's going to start with a Netflix movie. Basically just reconfirms all that. Reboot series, starts with the movie, Netflix exclusive. Some stuff about how it was originally going to go through Paramount, and then E1 came in, and how Entwistle briefly almost left the project because he was actually pushing for the more mature tone, and they didn't want it, which is kind of interesting. And also there's something to talk about in regards to it being a Netflix original and funding. One of the little bullet points says that like Netflix isn't the primary funder, it's Hasbro and E1. And I wanted to address this just because I feel like when Power Rangers got announced as a Netflix exclusive, I saw a lot of people panicking and being like, Netflix can cancel Power Rangers, they're gonna ruin it, blah, 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 blah. You know how the fans are. But the thing is yes, this is gonna be a Netflix exclusive, they're gonna label it a Netflix original, but Netflix does not own Power Rangers. You know, when you go onto Netflix, they have all their originals grouped together, but there are some that aren't true Netflix originals. I'm a true Netflix original purist. No, I'm just kidding. But by that I mean that there are some shows like Stranger Things. That's a Netflix original. It's fully produced by Netflix. Netflix is their network. But then there are other shows on Netflix that are originals that they've purchased the rights to. Like Pokemon the series is a good example, which I'll circle back to in a minute. That's a Netflix original, but they don't own Pokemon. There's also other series that stream in other countries that they own the rights to for Netflix, and it's labeled a Netflix original. But they don't own those like they do Stranger Things. It's not like the same thing. It's a different type of deal. I bring that up because of fear of like them canceling Power Rangers with that. Pokemon, brilliant example. That series has been running for a long time, will probably run long after Netflix is done. If, for whatever reason, Netflix decides they don't want to carry Pokemon anymore, Pokemon the series, and they cancel it, they don't have the power to end Pokemon the series here. The Pokemon would likely find a different home. It's the same thing for Power Rangers. So, should this Power Rangers Netflix series ever get canceled, that doesn't mean it puts a full stop to Power Rangers TV shows and movies for all time. It depends on how that goes about. I mean, sure, you know, to go on the negative side of things, if this doesn't do so well, then Hasbro probably wouldn't be too keen on trying to find a new home immediately. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't worry about Netflix having the power to put a full stop to the franchise. Now for some more interesting little details about this. They're going to be casting people around 20 to 25 range. I don't know whether this means they're going to be that age or it's going to be like that thing where they cast 20 to 25-year-olds playing teenagers. They're apparently kind of looking like quote-unquote in-house, like at actors that are already in other shows. The good news is they're actually hiring actors. As mentioned, it's going to be a hard reboot from a different universe, but also apparently, according to this new leak or new rumor or whatever you want to call it, it's not going to have anything to do with Mighty Morphin, so it's not going to be like the Power Rangers 2017 movie where they look very different and it's very different, but it's also clearly inspired by Mighty Morphin and his aesthetics. I find that to be really interesting. I really like that because I think it's nice to get away from Mighty Morphin. Although, you know, setting aside any people's thoughts on the suits of 2017, I actually thought that was the smartest approach, where it was kind of tethering itself a little bit to mmpr, but trying to do something new to sort of keep a safety net there. So I'm interested to see that. It makes me a little worried just because I almost feel like they arguably need something mmpr to make it more successful to casuals. But I like the fact that they're going for scorched earth, clean slate. Also, it's apparently going to be more serialized than your traditional Power Rangers stuff, which is music to my ears. A lot of the stuff is music to my ears and not music to other people's ears, unfortunately. And then it says it's going to be mature, but not R-rated type stuff. Like, it's really funny because in Morphin Mike's notes, he put, did people ever really think that? Yes, you would be surprised how many people thought it was going to be Game of Thrones Power Rangers. It's also apparently stated that while Zord battles will still exist, they won't happen in every episode and might even get saved for like special events, which I have zero problem with. Kind of goes along with kind of taking away from the episodic format, is kind of changing things up. I don't know about, saving it only for like finales, but I don't mind the idea of them not having a Zord battle every episode, because that formula in both PR and Sentai gets old really fast. It's also said they're going to kind of make it feel different than what the current era feels like in terms of the way that I'm going to assume like it's filmed and the way it feels in general, which again is something that I really want. I want it to feel distinctly different both in tone and style. And as mentioned before in past videos, like the reason for it starting on Netflix with a Netflix movie rather than a theatrical debut is a combination of things, obviously from the pandemic situation, not to mention their worry over reception from things like G.I. Joe Snake Eyes and stuff like that. And I think that's very smart. And a lot of these rumors kind of line up with things we've been hearing about behind the scenes and behind the scenes worries. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I think even without the pandemic situation and all that, I think that the Netflix movie is the smarter move. I've said that in past videos because the 2017 movie didn't do so well because of the way Saban handled it with the marketing and everything. And I think Power Rangers just isn't a big enough brand to put all your eggs in one basket, and that basket is a theatrical movie. I'm not saying that a theatrical movie could never be successful, but I think this is the safest and smartest play. So even if we didn't have all this different stuff to deal with, I think that would be the smartest move, and I'm glad they're going that way. I don't think it's in these notes, but I remember seeing something too about them saying they're wanting to make it like this, nice connected universe and successful multiple seasons and stuff, but they know they're not going to be like an MCU style thing, which I think is important. And by that I mean like the big scale. Like I want to see Power Rangers grow beyond its tiny little bubble, but I know it's never going to be like a superhero big brand like Marvel and DC. That's fine. It's just impossible. It's never going to happen, and that's totally fine. I want to see it become big, but I know it's never going to become that big. That's what she said. Also, some other interesting tidbits, which I think is the most new information in regards to brand stuff outside of the reboot, is apparently they're also looking into an animated series that would be more connected to the current Power Rangers multiverse, meaning like the current little stories we have now, kind of like Shattered Grid with the little multiverse or omniverse or whatever you want to call it, which I think is really cool, because that's these are two of the things I wanted, like a live action reboot that doesn't feel like Toku, and then a animated series, like two things I really want. And I think that's a really smart way to keep two things going at once. And the animated one will be geared more towards kids, it says. I'm going to assume / hope that means like Voltron or something. Like it's geared towards kids, like all the age range, instead of now where it's like kids. Like it's like a big age range group. And I think that's a cool way of being able to continue these stories, and you have a lot more freedom to do big stories where you can say, oh, let's bring this back and this back and this back. You don't have to worry about getting people back. I would kind of want actually different voice actors for the returning characters. Hot take. But I think that would be really cool. A lot of people have wanted to see animated adaptions for the comics for a long time, myself included. But I would kind of hope this would be new stories as well. Like I would be totally on board for getting like a DC animated movie style thing for Shattered Grid, but I don't want to see like this whole animated series be the comics. Like it's really funny because back when these rumors first started about like an animated series and a reboot, I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to have storytelling like the comics, and people were like, yeah, let's do adaptation of the comics. I'm like, apparently all this fandom has is adaptions. But that sounds really cool to me. I really like that idea. I would love for both of these to be successful, and it's a cool way of keeping that multiverse going. I've always thought Power Rangers could be really successful in animation, and it really just brings them so much more freedom. And also along with this goes what the current rumor is that Dino Fury is the last traditional live action series. It says that they're possibly considering in the future another Sentai adaptation like show for the kitty kids, but right now it's not concrete. That's what the rumor says apparently. I think that they're just kind of keeping it in their back pocket as maybe in the future we could do this for the real little kids, but it might not ever happen. And that's kind of in line with what we've been hearing, although there was those rumors that we could get a JoJo adaptation in between. I don't know, that didn't seem to be anywhere in this. It seemed to just be more like Dino Fury's last live action series. So that's the gist of the rumors, just kind of reconfirming some of the stuff about the hard reboot and the animated stuff. And honestly, my opinions are largely the same as before. This is almost like a wish list of things that I really want and that so many people just don't want, but I want a fresh start. I want us to break away from the Toku format. I don't want it to be dark, mature, gritty, but I like the idea of it being a little bit more of a mature, balanced show that can appeal to more ages, having storytelling that's a little bit more taken seriously with the lore. I like the idea of a fresh start, getting to see Power Rangers and Hasbro in general be able to break away from Sentai and fully, break into its own identity. I really love that idea. I love the idea of it being successful. I love the idea of an animated series, period, but that being a way of continuing the current continuity is really cool. I think there was some stuff in here also about like the new one wouldn't be connected. Like that's why the animated series would be there, is because this one wouldn't connect to the old continuity. And I know a lot of people were worried about like, oh, they're erasing everything, it's gone, I can't even watch it now, it's gone. Like, it's not how it works. Like, for me, even if this new reboot never crosses over with the other one, it's still all canon. When you have a multiverse, everything is canon, so I just don't have a problem with it. And honestly, if this works out, there's a chance that they could cross over later. Now, I'm not eager for crossover and team-ups, as you guys know, but there's a chance, like, if this reboot does well, that the reboot characters could be brought into a multiverse story down the road. But, I mean, I think it's smart to just have a clean slate, honestly, because part of this news, too, was, like, the stuff about how the time travel script was scrapped. Fun little saying to say. Hearing details about it, I'm glad they did. Like, as a longtime fan, some of the ideas of this time travel multiverse script sounded cool. But logically, it would be confusing AF for new fans. And I think that's what this, I'm hot take, as I've said on Twitter before, but I think the main goal of this reboot should be appealing to new fans and maybe casuals that remember mmpr, Fox Kids days, and get to see like, oh, this could actually be something cool. Because if we focus only on appealing to the tiny fandom, well, you know what's gonna happen? I declare bankruptcy! So yeah, my thoughts largely the same. I mean, I'm skeptical just in the sense that I want them to do this right so it's successful, but I'm very excited because a lot of this stuff is what I've wanted to see from the franchise for years. But as always, take this with a grain of salt. This is still just rumors. We're just discussing it for fun. We should hopefully be getting concrete news soon, at which point I will bring that to you. But let me know what you guys think in the comments, hopefully, respectfully. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell. So notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.